Hi everyone, it's Sue and thank you very much for joining me today. I'm up to the number 4 planner for the Margarete Miller Collage Challenge. Now the prompts for today, we have something fancy. This one I really struggle with. I kind of thought of a few things, but then I couldn't find pictures. And then I thought, well, and I overthink things, I get that. And I thought, well, fancy, what do they mean by fancy? Something that I consider fancy, other people may not consider fancy, or I might consider something fancy, and other people think, yeah, well, that's pretty run-of-the-mill. So, overthinking. So I went with this guy here out of my collage book, because I thought, well, he's kind of looks fancy in his fancy suit. You know, I thought so, anyhow. So that's him. Something that starts with an H, with a H. House. I went with house, and I picked this house. And in hindsight, this to me is a fancy looking house. So that works both ways. Part of a recipe. Okay, I don't have any books that recipe books that I was prepared to tear up. Not that I use them, but they look good on the shelf. So I did actually print off a while ago some recipes that I thought I might actually do, never actually did. So I grabbed one of those, and it's this prawn and herb omelette, which sounds great. I actually don't eat omelettes because I don't like eggs. So obviously I printed it for my partner and never actually did it for him. So anyhow, so I thought I'd rip this up. The next one, a tree with fruit or blossoms. I googled this one because I didn't have anything. So that's that one with cherry blossom. Something torn. I think I've missed something. No, something torn. What I thought I'd do is I would tear this to fit it in. Now I could tear any of the other items as well, and the background's also got torn bits, so that was pretty easy to cover. The last one was something used in an office. Now I had a couple of little things. I've got an old-fashioned telephone and an old-fashioned typewriter. Okay. Now the biggest thing I've got is probably the recipe, so I'm actually thinking I'm going to tear this up, which again is part of the tearing, isn't it? So I'm just going to, and I've lost my little hacksaw blade. I don't know where it's gone. Things disappear very easily in my house, and I mean it will be me. No one else is going to steal it. It'll just be me. I've probably used it somewhere else. I'm thinking I might just, because it's white, I don't want it to stand out too much. Okay, so there we go. That would go there, and I haven't distressed anything, so, and I do like to do that. Actually, I could make this a little bit older looking by putting more distress ink on it, and I can actually, just going to do a bit of scrunching so it does look a little bit older too, a bit more vintagey. There we go. So that's going to fit there. Now let's have a look. I've got a few things that I would consider focal images. Because this is a modernish looking picture, again I'm going to sort of distress the edges and go over it a little bit so it looks a bit more older. But it's also going to go more in the background, I think. Maybe up the top. Now the house, I'm thinking the house is quite a focal image really, so just give it a bit of a distressing. Alright, put the tree in the background. Yeah, that works, doesn't it? Maybe a bit more over. Maybe a bit more over. Yeah, I quite like that. Now this man, is also quite prominent, so I'm thinking he can be second focal image. Okay, not the best distressing job ever, but it will be fine. Maybe we could have him standing in front like he owns the property. Yep, I like that. And now the little items, the torn This was what I was going to put in the background, wasn't it? Let me have a look. Let's just do a bit of tearing. Okay, pop that in the background here, I think. Okay, now if you're into making stories out of everything, I guess you could say that this is his house, has a beautiful large property, and he's something to do with typewriters. Maybe he owns a typewriter company or something like that. We can make up a backstory for him. We might pop that up there. And of course, every important person would have had a telephone. Can't run a business without the old telephone. So we'll just pop that somewhere as well, maybe up there. Okay, I quite like that. Maybe there. Yeah, I quite like that. Let me see, what else have I got around me? I do have this little stamped image. Maybe I could tuck that in the back there. Yeah, I might do that. Just gives it a little bit more. Sometimes I think more is better. I've been trying this year to add a little bit more to my collages instead of just sticking to the very basics. So I'm going to add that into there. And this will go, I think I might have to stick that up there. No, I don't like that. Maybe here. Is he going to cover that? Yes. I'm going to stick that there, but I'm going to move everything over a bit, I think. Alright, let's see how we go. Let's just move that like that. Oops. Well, this glue's almost out. Yep. They don't last very long, these glues. Alright. Oh, that's better. I hope everyone's getting lots of time to craft at the moment. Those of you who are in winter, I'm sure that you are. Well, I'd like to think you are. For us, summer makes it a little trickier because our summer's quite warm and sunny and tend to want to get outside a little bit, although some days it's just too hot to get outside and do anything. It's forecast pretty warm today actually, so I'm thinking I'll get some recording done and then maybe just chill for the rest of the afternoon, I think. My house gets rather warm by the end of the day. The sun shines through the front lounge room windows. By the end of the day it really gets quite warm. I do find that about 4 o'clock I've got to close the blinds at the front, otherwise it's just unbearable. And of course that means my bedroom, which is also on the front, also is terrible at night. Really warm. I think maybe a bit there. But on the plus side, I suppose that the house itself does stay cooler than the lot of places I've lived in. So I guess that's good. But on the same token, it's absolutely freezing in winter. I don't think you can ever win. You really can't. And I notice the cold. Even on a hot day though, I seem to be cooler than everybody else. Not quite sure why that is, but it just seems to be. Okay. Now, don't want him to block the writing or too much of the house. Okay, yeah, I like that actually. Yeah, I like that. Now, where did I have the phone? Oh, the phone was up there. Okay, it's a slightly different location now, but that's okay. This happens every time I do a collage. And maybe there. Could tuck that behind the house slightly. Yep, I can do that. Of course, sitting here with all the lights on doesn't help either. I can feel myself getting hotter and hotter. Which is why I try to do videos in the morning in summer. Okay, so I'll just distress this a little bit. I'm really happy with this, doing it in this little craft journal though. I like the size of it. I'm really finding it's a good size. Alright, so we have something fancy, which was the man, and his feet aren't glued down. And of course you could say the house. Something that starts with H is the house. Part of a recipe is in the back here. Fruit tree, a tree with fruit or blossoms, there's the blossoms. Something torn was this, or you could say the background or the recipe. Something used in an office, which is the bonus, typewriter and telephone. So there we go. Doesn't seem to be lying flat. There we go. That would be the planner number 4. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I hopefully will see you again next week. Bye for now.